Hello, Stitchy friends. How's everybody doing? Today is Friday, July 3rd, 2026, and I don't have to work today. So I decided I would sit down and film a little Stitch with me with you. I already filmed a walk this morning through Soho area in New York City, and it's so hot. So I was very, very sweaty till I finished that walk. And I decided now I'm going to just come home, sit inside in the air condition, even though it's still warm in the apartment, and just stitch with you for a little bit. So grab your projects and we're going to get started stitching this. So today I'm going to be working on finishing this diagonal. Now I definitely will not finish it with you on this stitch with me, but hopefully I'll at least make it through a good portion of these oranges because there's not quite as many color changes in that section. So we'll see how far I get, but thank you so much for joining me. My name is Andrew. This is the Runner Stitcher. My dog Winston is here with me as always. He's right there chilling. He'll probably take some naps while I'm stitching and filming this, but he's here with me. So I'm going to get started. I am hydrating with some seltzer water today instead of coffee because it's just so hot in New York. So apologies as I might take some sips of that throughout the video, but I'm going to go ahead and get my iPad ready here and we'll get going with the stitching. Again, as I've said before with these Stitch With Me videos, there will be some moments where I'll be talking and sort of chatting with you, some moments where I'll be quiet and sort of thinking or counting in my head, and yeah, that's just how they'll sort of flow. So we're going to get started on this. Just have to bring up the chart here. Okay. And like I said, for right now, we are in this area where there's a little bit less color changes, and that makes it a little bit easier to stitch, which is nice. And hopefully means that maybe I'll be able to get a little bit more done than typical. We'll see. So yeah, like I said, we are having a major heat wave in New York, and I thought that would be kind of a fun day to film a walk. So I started in Washington Square Park here in New York City and walked down basically down to Canal Street, and then walked over into a little bit of Soho as well. And it was just kind of fun to see who all was out even this morning before it got too hot, but it still was warm. I think it was like almost 90 degrees when I did the walk. So very, very toasty, but still a nice day for a walk. So after I finished the walk, I was very close to one of my favorite bakeries called Dominique and Sel. I think they're the ones that started the cronut craze in New York, where it's like a croissant mixed with a donut. And so now every month they have a different flavored cronut that you can purchase. And where I stopped the walk, I was very close to where that restaurant was. I think I actually passed it on my walk, and so I went back and I had the July cronut, which was delicious. I did post a video of that on my Instagram story, but it was a cronut with a mango cream glaze on top, and then in the cronut part it was filled with this like horchata, which is like a milky cinnamon flavor. So it was like a horchata cinnamon cream in the center. And I don't know, I wouldn't have thought that those two flavors would go well together, horchata and mango, but they certainly did. And it was quite delicious. So that was my little treat for finishing the walk. And yeah, I did sit outside, but I found a shady spot to sit in because it's like a wall of humidity here. I think for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, it's supposed to be above 100 degrees here in the city, and humid on top of it. So it's just, yeah, it's just a heat wave for sure. And I know that's happening a lot across the country this weekend. I think a lot of people are experiencing the same sort of heat that we are. But I thought it'd be a fun day to sort of film the walk and see who all was out and what everybody was doing on a hot, hot day. And then I came home and I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to just sit down in the AC and stitch with you. So that's where we are now. And I haven't worked on this project in probably about, I don't know, has it been 2 weeks? I guess it may have been 2 weeks. So I really was kind of craving getting back to it. And I thought it'd be fun to sort of bring you along and do a little stitch with me. This has proven to be another really busy week for me. They all seem to be kind of going like that these days. But that's okay. This week was extremely busy because on Tuesday, Winston had his latest dental procedure to sort of clean his teeth and just check out how everything was going. And unfortunately, he has, I think they called it endodontics disease, which is a genetic disease that affects his teeth. And so he had to have 9 teeth pulled because of that. The poor guy was such a trooper. I felt so bad for him because I knew he was in a lot of pain at one point and his mouth was really sore and he probably didn't know what was going on, but he was such a trooper. He really got through it, and I think Wednesday evening he finally started eating again and wanting to go for his walks and was sort of getting back to his normal self. So his smile has changed a little bit. I'm sure you will see it on the next Flosstube because they had to pull one of those cute little teeth that were sticking out in the front because it was, I guess the disease was like eating away at the bone of that tooth. And so yeah, his smile has changed a little bit, but he's still super cute, I think. But yeah, it was just like I was in caretaker mode because he was still sort of coming out of the anesthesia on Tuesday night when I brought him home. And so he was a little out of it and just kind of, tired, a little achy and all the things. So I was just trying to play caretaker as much as possible. And of course he couldn't have any hard food or, he couldn't play with his ball because his mouth was too sore to do that. And yeah, so he's slowly getting back to playing ball now, because he really enjoys it, but I think when he tries to do it, it does get a little sore for his mouth still, so he can't really pick up the rubber ball. But he still plays with his stuffed toy a lot, which is good, and he's still enjoying his walks, and he's eating normally and going to the bathroom normally, so all of that is good, but just a crazy week trying to maneuver all of that. He really was such a good boy, though. And goodness, you would not believe how expensive it is to have teeth removed. That was quite an added expense to my list of expenses, but that's okay. They said all of the teeth that are left for him are healthy and they're not concerned about them. And so hopefully he won't have to have one of these procedures done for a number of years. And otherwise he'll be good and healthy. But when your pets are just not feeling themselves and you don't quite know how to help them, it's just so sad. Like you just want to help them. And sometimes you just can't. They did give me pain medication that I could give him as well. But you have to give it with food, and because he wasn't eating his food, I didn't really want to give him the pain medication on an empty stomach because he has such a sensitive stomach anyway. So luckily he didn't seem like he was in too much pain, like he was in an unbearable state. But we survived. We did it. We moved on, and he seems to be doing pretty good. Luckily, on Thursday, my work said I could work from home, which I didn't even ask to do that, but they just sort of told me, like, hey, with the holiday coming up, since we're off on Friday today for the holiday, they said you can work from home on Thursday. So I did get to be home with Winston all day Thursday, and I think that was really good. But yeah, the work week was also really busy. We just had a few other additional projects to our normal workload that came up this week and took a lot of time. So I think I'm just learning, this job it's not stressful. I really enjoy what I'm doing, but it is busier in the sense that there's just a lot of work to be doing. And so there's not really much downtime during the day. And I think in my previous jobs, I'm used to like having a little bit of downtime throughout the day. Whereas this one, it's just like nonstop go, 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 because there's so much work to get done. Which only means that by the time I get home in the evening or by the time like the weekend arrives, I'm just exhausted. Like my energy level is just depleted because I've been kind of go, go, go. So it's just something to get used to. I'm definitely not complaining because I still do really enjoy the work. I'm super happy that the job is like at least flexible in the days that I can work remotely, and they're super chill. They seem to be happy with the work that I'm doing, and it's just a really good atmosphere. So it's just an adjustment. It's just like getting to learn this new way of where my energy is spent, I guess, and making sure that I have enough downtime for myself to sort of, regroup and relax and recover a little bit. So yeah, just a busy week, but definitely glad that I have the long weekend to enjoy now. I don't know what you all have planned or going for the 4th, but I hope you are enjoying your holiday weekend. Maybe you have a picnic or a cookout or something planned. I know these weekends we used to always do cookouts as a family when I was growing up, and really enjoyed them. Had a lot of fun at those, and lots of good memories of those. But this weekend here in New York, good grief, it is way too hot out for a cookout. Yeah. So I think a lot of people will just be staying inside or trying to be like staying cool. One of my good friends, her birthday was this past week, and so she is having a birthday brunch celebration tomorrow early afternoon. So I'm going to go to that, and that will be sort of my July 4th celebration time. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try to see the fireworks on the evening of the 4th. It's always fun to see the fireworks, but it can be, again, as everything is here in New York, but it can be very busy and just a lot of people around, and I know it's going to be so hot that I'm just not sure if that's what I want to be doing this weekend or not. So we'll see. I decided, since I was going to film a walk for my Andrew in Stride walking YouTube channel, since I was going to do that today, I would skip my run, and I'm so glad I did, because it's just so humid. I don't think I would have made it many miles before I would have had to stop anyway. So it's nice to kind of still get my exercise in with the walk and take a day off from running. I actually got to sleep in this morning till about 8:30, which may not seem like sleeping in to some of you, but typically on a work day, because I run before work, I'm up by like 5:30. So this was nice. Winston and I took a nice lazy morning to get ready. But this weekend, it's even too hot for Winston to be outside walking. When we go for his walk, typically he just wants to go and continue. And yesterday and today, like this morning when I took him for his walk, all he wanted to do was go around the block and then come right back. I think he just realized, like, oh, it's hot out here. I don't really want to be out here. So he knew the way to go back to the apartment, and that's what we did. For as hot as it is today, it's kind of appropriate that I'm stitching these yellows and oranges. Kind of feels like the heat outside. Stitching these colors. This is a fun section, though. I really enjoy when there's just, there's basically 3 colors that we're working with right now in this little section, and I like that, because you're not changing colors all the time, and yet it's not just like block stitching where you're just stitching with one color. I think maybe that's my favorite kind of full coverage stitching, where it's just a handful of colors. So I'm glad this piece has moments of that. I had a very nice weekend last weekend. It was busy, but in a good way, and just got to connect with a lot of different friends and people that weekend, which was really refreshing and just nice. So yeah, really enjoyed that time. I got to see a friend in an off Broadway play. But it was cool to go support him and see him in something. So that was a good time. And then had lunch afterwards with some people from the play, and then we walked around the Pride festivities a little bit, which was fun. So yeah, all in all, just a very good day. Or I should say a very good weekend. I don't know, it just seems like this end of June, beginning of July period is always so busy for me. And just everything sort of piles on top of each other for these couple weeks, and yeah, it's just busy. Stitching wise, I feel like I'm just so far behind on things. Not my stitching, but I mean Flosstube. I have just not had the time. I got so used to having it on while I was working, just having it on in the background to watch and listen to. But because this job has been so busy, I try to have it on when I'm working from home, but I just find myself not even paying attention to it because I'm so busy trying to do the work. So I just feel so out of it, what's happening in the Flosstube world. It does kind of make me sad. I miss everybody. I miss watching what everybody's doing and up to. And I know this is just a season, summer's always busier. So I am grateful for the busyness, even if it does take away from things I enjoy and things I like doing. But I am getting super excited for Midsummer Stitch. I'm sort of planning that weekend to just enjoy the retreat and enjoy the time with you. And Sarah and I are getting very excited to do our little Q&A session. I don't really know what to expect or anything. I'm kind of nervous, but it should be a lot of fun. So I hope you are joining. If you are, definitely let me know in the comments if you are going to be attending Midsummer Stitch and if you're going to try to make the Q&A with Sarah and I. We're going to have a lot of fun, I'm sure. And if you don't know what Midsummer Stitch is, it is a virtual stitching retreat hosted by Steph at Lindy Stitches. And it's always a really great time. I really enjoy them. She does such a good job with the retreats. And as I always say, you can be as active or inactive as you want to be. You can have your camera on or off, whatever you're comfortable with. There's no sort of rules of what you have to, or they're just going to put you on camera or something. So don't worry about that. But it's a great place to meet other stitchers, and the nice thing is when you do meet other people, you already have something in common to chat about. You just talk about your whips and everybody wants to know more. So it's definitely not as scary as you would think. And stitchers are all very friendly. This community is very, very special. Okay, I'm going to grab a little drink here real quick. My Trader Joe's seltzer water. At this point, I should just be a or a seller for Trader Joe's, because I feel like I talk about them all the time. So if you watch these videos and hear me constantly talking about Trader Joe's, I apologize, but I do love them. That's my local grocery store, and I love what they're selling. So yeah, other than the birthday party tomorrow afternoon, I don't really have a lot going on, I don't think, for the rest of the weekend. So I'm hoping I do need to clean the apartment. I need to just, after Winston's procedure, I need to just kind of get things back in order here in the apartment. And I need to do grocery shopping, like some of those weekly errands that need to happen, but hopefully Sunday I will have some time to just kind of sit down and relax and stitch some more. I think on Sunday the heat is supposed to die down a little bit, so I might try to do a longer run on Sunday morning after it's not so hot. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see what the day brings. How are you all feeling about stitching patriotic things for the 250th? Are you stitching something for that in particular? I don't really have anything I'm stitching. I'm not a huge patriotic stitcher anyway, but I don't have anything in particular for the holiday. But I know a lot of people enjoy stitching patriotic, so I figured you might have some good patterns you're working on. This is definitely a nice little section through here to be stitching in this diagonal. We've had a few guesses on what this motif might be, but I think it'll be a few more diagonals until maybe you can have a better guess. Right now it's really hard. I think if I was looking at this pattern, I wouldn't know what it is. So don't beat yourself up if you're not sure yet. I did find out this week that my niece and my sister-in-law are going to be coming to New York for, I think, about 5 days. So they're coming in July. I think the beginning of, or no, I think the week before Midsummer Stitch is when they're coming. But it'll be so fun to have them here, because normally when I get to see them, it's always in Florida. And so it'll be so fun to have them here to get to do some New York things together. I'm excited to see them. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to in the coming weeks. I feel like July is just going to be a very busy month. The weekends are just going to fly by. But I guess that's just sort of typical summer for you, right? Summer months always just go so quickly. And, we're already in July. That is halfway through this year. Time is just flying by. As far as what I've been watching this week, I finished Only Murders in the Building, so I made it through all 5 seasons, and I did really enjoy it. I think that will be a comfort watch show where I can go back and rewatch it again and again. I will say that my favorite seasons were the Broadway season, which I think was season 3 maybe, and then I really did enjoy this last season, season 5. Those were the 2 that I really enjoyed. but a very fun show. And then I finally, since I got HBO, I finally started watching Heated Rivalry, which I know is so old at this point, but yeah, that's what I've sort of been watching. I want to get to Hacks on HBO, and I also want to watch Gilded Age on HBO. So on my list, there's always stuff to watch. Always new shows, new things. I hope this video is not too dark today. I know the close-up won't be dark, but I hope the video itself is not. I have my blinds closed right now because the sun is just so hot. I'm going to have those windows, or the blinds up, and those windows, it just comes right through there. It is very, very hot. So I figured I would just keep the blinds closed today so we don't have that natural light coming in. But it allows for the apartment to be a little cooler, which is what I want, honestly. I feel like New York's had a lot going on recently with the 2 people scaling the Empire State Building the other day. Now there's like rumors of Taylor Swift's wedding happening at Madison Square Garden. It's like all these things in New York. It's kind of funny that it's all happening at this time. But I don't know if the Taylor Swift wedding is actually happening or not. I can't get a good read on whether that is real or not. Time will tell, I guess, right? Now you'll notice in this section, I'm not really following my stair stepper method, where I sort of do like, sorry, I lost my concentration, where I sort of do like 2 stitches up and then 2 stitches over, 2 stitches up, 2 stitches over, kind of stair step up. But this section, I'm kind of just going on the diagonal. That's because it just depends how those stitches of that color sort of fall in place, and if I see more stitches of them in the next diagonal anyway, then I'm more likely to stick with my 2-step path. But if I see like these are the only stitches of this color and it's not in the next diagonal, then I like to just kind of take care of them at the time so that I don't have to worry about like going back to them. We've got a single stitch here. Which I guess, if I'm not mistaken, is a ninja stitch. That's the correct term. So I'm going to do my 1-stranded loop start again, which you've seen me do so many times on this piece. But that's how I like starting my threads, so they can start from the front, so I don't have to be flipping my work over all the time. Actually, I see there is one stitch not too far from here, so I think I will park it. So it goes here. I think it goes right there. And that also means these two can move to the side. You can see now that as we're getting into this section here where it kind of blends back into the yellows of her coat, that's when we get a lot of color changes again. So we're kind of coming out of that area of block stitching and moving into a little bit more color changes. But hey, that's what keeps it interesting. That's why full coverage is never boring, because you're always sort of changing colors or, you know, focusing on different sections of the pattern. You'll see here that I do have two strands or two threads of the same color going, but that's okay. One was a leftover from the previous diagonal, and then one was new from this diagonal, but I just kind of sort of form a path and kind of split the stitches in two. So it's, although it's not the most ideal to have two threads going, it just kind of works. And there's enough of this color that, you know, it's fine to have two going, because I'll probably need both of them anyway for this one section. But that does happen when you park in the diagonal and then you start new ones above it when you get to it, and then you end up with sort of multiple threads of the same color that are all going. Stitching is making me sleepy today. It's either that or just being out in the heat already this morning and doing that walk. Like, I could use a nap this afternoon, so maybe once I'm done stitching here, Winston and I will take a little nap. He's already sleeping right now. Ooh, I'm going to try to show you. See if I can show you. Hopefully you can see him there. He's like totally all curled up and sleeping away. I swear I feel like these videos just put him to sleep. I don't know if it's my talking or what, but that's okay. He needs his rest too. He had a hard week. I was so proud of him though, because the vet said he did such a good job for them, which I was happy to hear. But they said like he didn't put up a fight at all. He just sort of went with the flow, and he was like very good with them. So I was very proud of my little brave boy. Did you all see Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery? I think he released 6 new patterns this week. I think a few of them we had already seen, like the Frisian Smalls I think he had released previously. But there's some really good ones in there, as always. He's such a great designer, and at some point I'll have to do a highlight of his patterns on my Flosstube. But yeah, he's just so talented. The one that stood out to me was I don't know how you pronounce it, but the Vierlander piece that he did. He has one of those already that is beautiful and just absolutely stunning, but it's huge, and so I haven't really like pulled the trigger yet, but it's one that I would like to do. And now he came out with another one, and this one I think is a little bit smaller, so I'm kind of like, well, maybe that's the one I should do then. That's a little bit more manageable, and I still really like the style and the design. What other new patterns have you seen recently? Have you found any that you really liked that have come out recently? I know it's maybe a less busy time for new cross-stitch patterns because we're not in the Nashville season or the September season. I think there's another market that happens in September where new patterns are released a lot. But let me know if you've seen any really good patterns released lately, because I never have enough stash. I'm always looking for new patterns. We're already at about 50 minutes, so I'll probably go another like 10 or 15 minutes with you. I feel like we made a pretty good progress on this orange section. I hope you're also making good progress on your piece, whatever you're working on or whatever you're doing while you're watching this. I was really bummed to not get to do this last week. It was just so busy for me. I just didn't have a chance. I didn't have the time. But I did really miss it. I felt sort of out of sync or out of my routine. Like, well, I'm supposed to be filming a Stitch With Me video right now. And I missed kind of sitting down and chatting with you. Like I said, it's always a very relaxing time for me to be sitting and stitching, even though I have these cameras around me. It's still relaxing, and so I was sad to have missed it, but happy to be back with you now. That's for sure. before I left for my walk this morning, I put dinner in the crock pot, and I'm making a chicken tortilla soup, basically. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to get chips on the way home, so I'm going to have to go get some chips to put on top of the soup. But it's basically this really, really easy recipe. You just throw everything in the slow cooker and let it do its job all day long. And then you have this delicious soup, which I know it's a really hot day, so soup is kind of like probably not ideal, but so it's, you use chicken broth, a can of salsa, chicken breasts, a can of black beans, a can of corn, and is that it? I think that might be it. You just let that all cook, and then right before you're ready to serve, take the chicken out and sort of shred it with 2 forks, and then put it back in so it kind of becomes easier to eat in like a soup. And then you can top it with sour cream and cheese and chips if you want it to be a little crunchy on the top. But it's a nice, easy dinner and a good one that I enjoy. So I put all that in before I went to my walk this morning, and now dinner will be ready for me. So I can just stitch and be with you today. Okay, need another sip of my seltzer. One thing I know in the stitching community is July is Christmas stitching, Christmas in July. And typically that's when I start one of the reindeer pieces from Nora Corbett. I've been doing those for a number of years. Well, just 2 years, I guess. I only have 2 done. But I always really enjoy them, and I usually start them in July and then finish them at Christmas. And I don't know. It's maybe I'll feel differently towards the end of July, but it's just so hot here that I just have no desire to be stitching Christmas right now. So we'll see if I actually do any Christmas stitching in July. I might just sort of skip that trend this time around. Or I don't know, maybe I'll pull out one of my Christmas whips and put a few stitches into it, but I don't know if I will start the new reindeer. I've had a number of new starts recently, and so I guess I'm just not feeling called to the new start quite as much. I still love the reindeer, and I do want to do the rest of them, but I might just maybe I'll take a year off and try to get back to it next year or something. Stitching what I want, stitching what I want. That's what I keep telling myself. Really just makes me wish we could all just go to a cabin in the middle of nowhere and stay there for a year and just stitch and enjoy each other's company. Not have to work, not have to do anything else, not have to do errands or chores. Just stitch, stitch, stitch. That would be nice. But even if we had that for a whole year, we still wouldn't have enough time to finish everything we want to work on. That's just how it is. There's just too many beautiful patterns. So that's why I just need to be grateful for whatever stitching time I do get and whatever time I get to spend with you. It can be the littlest amount of time and I can still enjoy it and not just be wishing I had more. Because I think that wishing that you just had more stitching time kind of takes you away from the present moment of the stitching you're enjoying. Something I am not perfect at and I'm still learning how to do, but it does make a difference. And I think in a way these Stitch With Me videos really help me to be present because I'm chatting with you and I'm focused on my stitching, and that's just like some dedicated time to be sort of present stitching. So I'm really grateful for that. Okay, we've reached the inner edge of the border. These yellow stitches are coming up right against the border there. Or not the border, the frame, I should say. July is also sort of mid-year whip parade season, and I know a lot of people have been doing their mid-year whip parades. Typically, I have done a whip parade in July, and so I'm thinking about maybe doing another one this July. I think I have a total of 29 projects now, so yeah, just kind of been thinking if that's something I could do this month. Because I always enjoy watching a whip parade, and I would like to do another one since it's been a little while and some of those projects haven't been out for a bit. So just kind of something that's on my radar as a possibility. But as I said before, July is just a very busy month with Midsummer Stitch, and now with my sister-in-law and niece coming in. So I'm not really making any promises to what I'll be able to record or get done. One day at a time, right? Okay, we are at just over an hour, so I think I will try to finish this row that I'm working on right now, this new one that I'm starting, and then I will probably end this video. Let you get on to your next Flosstube. We'll see what the numbers are when I'm done, but I feel like we got a good amount completed in this little session. Definitely slowed us down a little bit here at the end as we got into the yellows of her coat again, but now this yellow color appears down a little further. I wonder if that means, if there's a yellow stitch here, does that mean her coat kind of comes down there too? I honestly can't remember now from the pattern if that's why there's yellow there, or if that's a new sort of motif section. I guess we'll find out when we get there. thought I had forgotten a stitch there, but I didn't. All good. I just forgot to mark one off that I should have. Most of the time when full coverage, when I'm stitching this way, when I think I have missed something, it's usually just I forgot to mark it off and mark up. So it's like the stitching I actually did and completed, but I just forgot to mark it off. Which is good. I'd rather have it that way than have to like frog something. And now for this section, because there's a lot more of this orange color coming right underneath of here, my thread is getting kind of short, as you can see. It's like not very much left. I am just going to end it, and then the next diagonal I will, or the next row, I will start a new one. Alright, and one final stitch for this row, then we'll be complete. All right, there we go. So we made it down through this little section right here. Let's see how many stitches we put in together today. Today was 158, so definitely more than some of my typical Stitch With Me videos because there wasn't as many color changes, but yeah, I think it's looking really good. I don't think I'll be able to do a zoomed out version right now so you can see the whole thing. Let me try it. Let's see. There we go. I need to move this so you can see it, but that is what it looks like so far. I think it's looking really good, and yeah, I'm excited to keep sharing it with you, keep stitching more. So I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. I hope you're able to spend it with people you love, with family or friends. Maybe you'll have some hot dogs or some sort of picnic or cookout, and yeah, just have a wonderful weekend. Try to stay cool if you're in one of these heat waves that are happening across the country, and I will hopefully talk to you again on Monday for my next Flosstube. So have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.